الساحة الإقليمية. كذلك عقدت جلسة مباحثات ثنائية منفردة ومع الوفود، تم فيها بشيء من التفصيل تناول العلاقات الثنائية وأيضا الأوضاع والتطورات الخاصة بالحرب في غزة والأوضاع الإقليمية. وفي الحقيقة أبدأ بأن أتوجه بالشكر للحكومة الإسبانية للشعب الإسباني على تمسكه
joined the press conference with the Spanish counterpart José Manuel in a new administrative capital. The foreign minister is talking about the topics that were tackled during their meetings early in the day. There is a deep-rooted relations that bind the two countries together. Not only Spain, but the whole Mediterranean region is linked to Egypt with historical relations, particularly Spain.
والتقدير لأنه كل حياة هي جديرة بالاحترام ويجب العمل.
I really respect these relations that bind the two countries.
والمراعاة الاعتبارات الإنسانية. فيما يتعلق بعلاقتنا الثنائية
Concerning bilateral relations, there is a good care of increasing our visits and to increase Spanish investments in Egypt and to attract more Spanish companies and the volume of trade exchange between the two countries. We also talked about how to increase the flow of investments between the two countries. And how to benefit from trade relations between the two countries. Also, these trade relations goes back to a long time ago, and we have historical relations in this domain. I really thank Spain for its role within the European Union as it elaborates how Egypt is facing many challenges.
يتناول القضايا أيضا من منظور مبادئ احترام القانون الدولي ومراعاة المصالح المتبادلة لكل من مصر والاتحاد الأوروبي. وكان دائما لدور أسبانيا
Egypt has an important role in showing the members of the European Union about Egypt's role.
بعضنا بعض نفهم التحديات التي تواجهنا، نفهم انه هناك اختلافات ثقافيه لابد من مراعاتها، ولكن الدور الاسباني
there is some difference in cultural relations between Egypt and the Euro-Mediterranean countries, but there is also care between Egypt on economic and political levels, and I'd like to thank the Spanish government for its role, for its vital role, which has a good impact on Egypt, and it will show in the coming meetings that will take place in Egypt, as it will increase relations between Egypt and the European Union. I welcome the Spanish Foreign Minister, and we discussed also the situation in Gaza and the importance of ceasefire and the unprecedented casualties of civilians and the challenges that the Palestinian people face in Gaza. Now we have a famine in northern Gaza. We can't even support them with the aid because of complicated measures taken by the Israeli government. We have to increase aid to Gaza to help them face the challenges that they face now.
في ضوء التكدس من الفلسطينيين في هذه المنطقة، المخاطر المرتبطة باستمرار الإجراءات الإسرائيلية العسكرية وغير ذلك.
We also talked about the Israeli military escalation that push Palestinians to Rafah and to move this issue to other neighboring countries. We reject this military situation and the displacement of Palestinians to other areas.
مجموعة الاتصال العربية الإسلامية، دور إسبانيا في الاتحاد الأوروبي. فبنشكر مرة أخرى.
I thank the Spanish Foreign Minister for its stance regarding the Palestinian cause, and we hope that we cooperate to face this challenge and also terrorism and illegal migration, many challenges that face the two countries. And we hope we work together to face all these problems.
السيد معالي وزير الخارجية سامح شكري بادئ ذي بدء أتوجه بخالص الشكر على
I'd like to thank Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry for his speech and for his hospitality, and I hope all the best for the Islamic countries and happy Ramadan to all the Islamic nation. I'd like to thank President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, President of the Republic, as I met him early in the day. I wanted to visit Egypt in this difficult situation as Egypt and its foreign minister play an important role at this stage, especially the situation in Gaza. We talked about the problem in Gaza. We have a deep historical relations that make us aware of the problems and challenges that face us. Egypt plays an important role on the African level. All this make Egypt an important partner for Spain. Now, today we talked about political discussions, and we exchanged views on enhancing these relations. We have deep bilateral relations on economic levels and other prospects of economic cooperation. Also, Spain is supporting Egypt in its development process on cultural level. We have the Spanish Cultural Center here in Egypt. It's an important cultural center. It is the third biggest one in the world. We also talked about the situation in Gaza. Since the beginning of this crisis, we are discussing how can we cooperate to and coordinate to to reach peace in this region, whether in Palestine or the whole Arab countries. I stress on the importance of Egypt's role in negotiations. We all look for ceasing fire in Gaza. Egypt is also helping the civil society organizations in Gaza. We hope we can put a framework that allows Palestine to live in peace. Spain and Egypt hope to reach a ceasefire in Gaza and to stop this humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza Strip. Egypt described this humanitarian crisis in details, as we see it every day on the borders. We also know the repercussions of this humanitarian crisis, especially for Egypt or the whole Middle East, if it continues. Spain is backing Egypt and all countries that look for peace. This visit aims to call at the whole international community to cooperate with us as we see that there are 30,000 Palestinians killed and others are suffering from famine. UNRWA knows that very well. It's a big problem. For the 6 million refugees, we will keep on helping them, and we will support the UNRWA to do that. I also met some refugees in Jordan, Palestinian refugees in Jordan, as I met with the Foreign Minister Shoukry. I told him about these meetings. What happens in Gaza is very important to all of us. Egypt is taking very important steps in this regard. Also, the European Union pays great attention to this problem. Egypt, the United States, and Qatar are trying to mediate to solve this problem and reach a ceasefire, and Spain is backing them in this decision. This is the first step in order to find a solution, which is the two-state solution. This political vision is the only solution in order to start rebuilding Gaza, the reconstruction phase of Gaza. We will all cooperate to achieve peace. We can't reach peace unless we find the two-state solution. We have to arrange an international conference, and we start in Madrid in 1991, and we talked about a Palestinian state that lives side by side by Israel. Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry is an ally that will cooperate with us to make this region safe and peaceful. I'd like to thank you, Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry, and for all the humanitarian aid that Egypt provides to Palestinians, and also to Spanish people who lived in Gaza and who carry the Palestinian identity. A question to the minister.
منذ أيام قليلة عن تصريحات أوروبية حول حزمة تمويل دعم تمويلية لمصر.
We follow up about the support.
حوالين هل في مزيدا من
Will there be
حوالين العلاقات الاقتصادية المصرية الإسبانية؟
Will there be more economic relations between Egypt and Spain?
زي ما تحدثت انه خلال اللقاء ناولنا شيء من التفصيل الرغبة المشتركة.
We talked about our desire to increase trade exchange between Egypt and Spain, and Egypt's and Spain hopes to help Egypt in its development process.
تبشر الاستمرار ان هذه المصالح مشتركه لكل من مصر واسبانيا، تفعيل مجلس الاعمال والعمل على.
We also hope to activate the Egyptian-Spanish Business Council to provide more opportunities for investments.
دعم للحزمة الاقتصادية بتخدم الاتحاد الأوروبي على توفيرها بصفة عامة. كان دائما مواقف اسبانيا في الاتحاد هي داعمة لتنمية العلاقة فيما بين الاتحاد الأوروبي ومصر سياسيا واقتصاديا وثقافيا وأمنيا.
Spain was always keen to support Egypt on all levels and to face Egypt in many domains like immigration, illegal migration, and terrorism. We will continue to push all these efforts, and we hope our relations will also develop with the European Union. You talked about this country plays an important role as a mediator to achieve peace. We talked about reaching a ceasefire. Is there any plan to reach ceasefire on the short term? I have another question. Can we open the border, Rafah border crossing, to allow the passage of humanitarian aid? Concerning the ceasefire, as Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry said, we talked about that this is an important aim to reach a ceasefire. As for the timing, no one can predict the right timing for reaching a ceasefire. We don't have a date, but all we can is to try to ask for reaching ceasefire. Now we are talking about 30,000 martyrs. We have to guarantee the entrance of humanitarian aid, and under these difficult circumstances, this aid can't reach the Palestinians. We have to find a solution, permanent solution, to reach a ceasefire, so the Middle East region can be a peaceful region. We talked about the humanitarian aid, and we can open the Rafah border crossing, but as we have a war, it is not easy. Because of these circumstances, it is very hard to allow the humanitarian aid to pass through the crossing. You said
provide greater assistance. So I will respond in English so that my message is clear to you. The Rafah crossing has never been closed. It was closed initially 3 days at the beginning of the war because it was bombed, because the roads were destroyed. Then the Egyptian government, within the span of 24 hours, when the bombing of the crossing, the intentional bombing of the crossing, was no more, was able to repair the roads in the span of less than 24 hours for assistance to enter. This crossing is initially a people's crossing. It was never designed for crossing of trucks, but we amended it so that it could support the crossing of trucks. For all our efforts, we have been applying in coordination with the United States, with the Israeli government, and the procedures necessary to maintain the safety and the distribution of the assistance. And thereby, there were restrictions placed related to vetting that restricted the volume of trucks that can enter. At the current level, and this is the highest level, there are daily 200 trucks entering Gaza. This is far below the needs. Under normal circumstances, Gaza was receiving 600 trucks a day. So we recognize that the numbers of trucks are insufficient. There is a long line of trucks waiting to enter, but are subject to the procedures of vetting that must be complied to so that the trucks can enter safely, that their drivers are not targeted, that they are received on the other side by the UNRWA, which is distributing the assistance. It is necessary to also recognize that it is the responsibility of the occupying power to deal with the humanitarian situation. And there are 6 other crossings that Israel controls and that should be open to humanitarian assistance. But Rafah crossing is doing everything possible. It has never been closed. It continues to can provide more than 200 trucks a day if the resolution of the Security Council 2720, and if the procedures that are enforced on the crossing are more facilitated. So we need to understand what is the circumstances, that we have the capacity for Rafah to increase the level of assistance flowing from it. There's in Arish, from Arish almost to Rafah, a long line of trucks that are waiting to pass and will pass on a 24-hour basis if the authorization is given to them. So we have to place the responsibility of what is happening where it should be, and that there should be no misconception that Egypt is anyway restricting or is in any way not responding to the needs of the Palestinian humanitarian needs.
اتفضل استاذ سمير عمر من السكاي نيوز عربيه.
صباح الخير على الوزير. سؤال يعني استكمالا لما قالته الزميله من اسبانيا. هناك افكار الان عن ممر بحري لادخال المساعدات.
There are some ideas about a naval passage that allow the passage of humanitarian aid.
وايضا هناك اتفاق بتحالف دولي لانزال جوي في شمال رفح، شمال غزه عفوا. برايك يعني واضح ان اسرائيل بتتعاطى بشكل ايجابي مع هذه المبادرات، لكن هل ما زالت اسرائيل بتعرقل حسب الروايه المصريه دخول المساعدات؟
Is Israel still hindering the passage of humanitarian aid through crossings?
ما يتعلق بجهود مصر للوساطة. تحدثنا اليوم أو وصلنا اليوم عدة
أخبار
عن
about Egypt's mediating efforts.
على أن هناك أفكار جديدة للوساطة.
There are new ideas presented by Egypt and Qatar.
بعض الملاحظات.
Can you tell us more about this?
شكرا جزيلا. فيما يتعلق ب ما تم إثارته حول توفير المساعدات الإنسانية للشقائق الفلسطينيين في غزة، مصر بالتأكيد تسعى لزيادة حجم المساعدات.
Egypt is looking for increasing the humanitarian aid
وسائل برية جوية
to the Palestinians.
نستشعر كل يوم ثقل ما نشاهده من
as we follow up the catastrophe that is taking place in Palestine and the death of children in hospitals because of dehydration, famine. The situation there is unacceptable. I stress on the responsibility of Israel, as it has 6 border crossings that should be kept open.
كمية المساعدات التي تم إلقائها من الطائرات وهي كلها محدودة في حجمها نظرا
airdrop many
المخاطر اللي نشأت
aid
من حيث
to
الإضرار بالمدنيين التي
Palestinians.
المفروض تخدمهم. لابد أن نقدر أيضا إنه ما هو مطروح بالنسبة للممر البحري
As for the naval passage,
في وقت لإنشائه مقدر بحوالي شهرين.
we need 2 months
ما نفعل حتى شهرين.
We need 2 months to build this passage. Should we wait for 2 months until we build this port? So we have to be realistic and should not wait for 2 months. Because in every minute and every hour they are facing death. We can't wait. The only thing that we can do now is the Rafah border crossing. Israel should allow the passage of trucks to Gaza Strip.
لإجراء التحقق داخل غزة، وبالتالي تسريع وتيرة المساعدات بدلا من التحقق منها في أماكن أخرى والخضوع لتعمد في تأخير التصريح لها لأغراض متصلة باستمرار حالة الحصار المفروضة على الشعب الفلسطيني في غزة. مرة أخرى الأمر لابد أن يتم مراعاة الوضع الإنساني الغير مسبوق الحادث الآن والأضرار الواقعة على المدنيين الأبرياء. يكفي هذا العدد من القتلى حتى الآن من الأطفال والنساء والشيوخ والمدنيين بصفة عامة. لماذا يتم عقابهم بهذا الشكل؟
I don't know why Palestinians are punished in this way. I think it is enough. 30,000 Palestinians are martyrs. As for mediation, we are talking about freeing hostages and to allow the passage of humanitarian aid in a safe way, and for UNRWA
هذه
to
المساعدات.
distribute
ومرة أخرى
these
هنا لابد
aids.
من التثمين والإجلال للدور اللي بتلعبه منظمة الأنروا والمحاولات
Actually, the UNRWA is playing a very important role
تشكيك في دور
to help
الأنروا.
Palestinians.
دور حيوي لا
They play a very
يستطيع أي
vital role
منظومة أخرى
in this
تنطلع
domain.
وفقا لهذه الظروف. يكون قد راح من موظفيها حوالي 120 نقوا مسرح
120 employees in the UNRWA felt that
تشمل المنظمة وجهودها ومسؤولياتها وتضحياتها، وإنما يجب أن نلتزم بالقواعد، لأنه الممارسات الفردية لا يجب أن نعممها على الموظفة على المنظمة وموظفيها.
individual practices
تتسق مع مبادئ العدالة.
should not be prevailed on all the organization.
طبعا التفاصيل امور حساسه لا نخوض فيها، لكن هنستمر في هذا العمل
We
لانه
have to
هو
continue
الوسيلة
our
الوحيدة.
work
ليس
because
هناك
it is the only
صراع
way.
الا ان ياتي في مرحله ولا بد ان ينتهي من خلال التفاوض.
These conflicts will only end via negotiations.
ليست مختلفه عن هذا
سؤال أخير لوزير خارجية إسبانيا.
The last question for the Spanish Foreign Minister.
Hola, buenas tardes.
مساء الخير، معك من جريدة البايس. كنت أتوجه بسؤال لوزير الباريس. سيادتكم في جامعة الدول العربية
In the Arab League talked about that this is the third visit for you in the Middle East region, and that in the coming weeks you will present you will talk about achieving peace in the coming period. How can we coordinate with Israel to reach peace? Will you travel to Israel in the coming weeks? Can you tell us about your vision regarding this suggestion? This is misunderstanding. I didn't talk in Bahrain about a common suggestion. I talked about the Arab League and the European Union in October concerning peace, in which 27 countries were there. I said in the Arab League that this is a good chance as the Arab League chief found the support of 27 European countries. We talked on the European Union levels and the Arab countries about a peace conference and how to reach two-state solution. We hope. I didn't say that it will be done this way. Whether the Arab League or the European Union. We hope Israel can sit with us and talk and negotiate with us to talk about peace. Israel is a friendly country to Spain. We only work for justice and peace for the Palestinian people and also security for the Israeli people.
Egypt opens up to the world. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi meets with world leaders.
أعبر لكم عن خالص الشكر والتقدير على حفاوة الاستقبال وكرم الضيافة.
Reaffirming Egypt's vision, delivering our voice abroad.
لتطوير التعاون الثنائي الاقتصادي والعسكري إلى مستويات غير مسبوقة.
Discussing regional and international developments. solid and strong relations on the path of partnership and development.